you'll find somebody who's going to introduce somebody who's going to introduce somebody who's going to give you money, or somebody's going to introduce somebody's going to introduce somebody who's going to give you office space, or somebody who's going to give you you know what I mean? Like this life thing, the fact that you're already intentional about it, you've got a vision with it, and you only speak about it, you're putting it out there. The universe is always working in your favor. Unkulunkulu is always on your side.
What does being a man then mean to you today, especially nowadays that masculinity is being attacked so much? What does it mean to you to be a man? I mean, you talked about the men on your father's side, and you also talked about the men on your mother's side, which means somehow you relate with them, that building spirit, that being a man, that being present, that recreating stuff. But masculinity is always being redefined in different ways by different cultures and people. What does it mean to you to be a man?
People that run the world are really naughty, bro. Like, because they run the world, they can shut down the whole world and we can be in our houses for over a year. Then you get to understand there's people who run things. And they always have got an agenda, right? So they use the media, they use movies, Hollywood, they use programming, they use laws. They own a lot of non-profit organizations that are in a lot of countries, that have infiltrated governments, that lobby and pay or buy politicians. So they're always lobbying for certain policies to try and dictate on how this world or where this world must go. So when masculinity is under attack, sometimes it might just not be a God engineered thing, but it might just be a man engineered thing, a man-made thing for their own personal or selfish reasons, whatever their agendas are, whatever they're trying to do to the world, whatever their plans are for the future, right? So, but I guess if you're somebody and you've sort of understood scripture, or it also depends on the culture that you come from and what your belief system is. But yeah, I think now it's gotten obvious that masculinity is under attack, but other people are comfortable with the new ways of how things are done. And other people are comfortable with how a 2025 man should look like or looks like, you know? But for me, the meaning of a man is a provider, is a leader, is somebody who provides direction, somebody who provides for their family, but somebody who breaks boundaries, somebody who's got confidence, who believes in himself, somebody who cares about his community, somebody who lifts others up, and somebody who just pours out positivity out there and gives back to their community. That's my definition of a man, and I think so far I've lived out my life to my best potential to be the best man I can be, right? Your definition of a man or what it means to you is you. But for me, it's already what I've told you. You know, a leader, a provider, a protector, somebody who cares about their community, somebody who lifts others up, and somebody who does unashamedly the work of God on a daily basis.
Sure. And have you ever had to heal or forgive yourself to move forward in business or in life?
Did I ever have to forgive myself?
Yes.
For
any mistakes that you've made in business or in life, and how did you do it, you know?
Okay.
And the healing part.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we hurt ourselves through the decisions that we've made, through the deals that might have gone wrong because of our doing. Maybe some deal is not necessarily because the deal was bad, but because you yourself did not do what you were supposed to. How did you heal from that? Or how can somebody else, what do you advise they do to heal from things like that?
Yeah, we're all not perfect human beings, Mr. Witness. We'll continue to make mistakes all the time. You look back and you see a lot of mistakes that you've made. You see some things that have costed you money. Some have costed you relationships. Some of you have costed you quite a lot. But I used to worry a lot in the past, but now I don't anymore. As I did say, that I believe everything happens for my own good. Even though it's hurting.
Did you want to say everything happens for a reason?
Yeah.
You've got a song like that.
Of course. And everything does happen for a reason. So even when things did not happen or go, work towards my favor, you sometimes get mad at yourself, but then you sometimes make peace with it and keep it moving. But only later on, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, only then you understand why that in the past happened the way it did and why it didn't happen your way. Then you get to understand, no, actually maybe Mudimu nantusa for me to be where I am now. You know what I mean? So sometimes Mudimu shows us tough love. You know, because rona re na le go ba leading cancer. Lo bona sometimes ba felletsa ba go koba ko mosebetsing. Because you are just there and you're overstaying your welcome and God is just blessing you with other blessings. He wants you to level up. But you don't want to level up because you love whatever you're doing so much so that it's a dam and like utlwa monate. And then Modimo a felletsa a go ira gore o lose span sa gago. And then you get miserable, you've been fired, you've lost this, you get irritated, and then your life goes through turbulence. Maybe you don't have an income or a stable income anymore. Maybe for a year, for a couple of months, and then you feel only to understand 5-7 years later, oh, this is what I was being put through. That was just a test. And he was leveling me up because I could look stubborn.
So for the young, I'll say young hustler starting out with nothing, what's the best money principle that they need to master?
Don't make the mistakes that we made. Understand liabilities from assets. Understand the concepts that he teaches in his book. One of the best books I've ever read. It's more than just money. It's an incredible book. He talks about gratifying yourself and also paying yourself and just having, he calls it play money. But he also talks about the importance of investments. And he talks about the simplest thing you can invest in is land, and land gives you property. And property is the easiest thing that you can double up on. The other day, I was interviewing him on my podcast, I think it was last week, and we spoke about a beautiful principle of just buying one property. Actually, one property can help you create generational wealth, which is what has happened in his life. His mother had the room that they used to hire out, and the room would say there'd be tenants, and tenants would be paying Zaka. And Zaka, but when moms left, if you read his book, you'll get to understand that after moms left, he got the skill to be able to continue running the Rumuteu. But the Rumuteu is actually the genesis of everything he owns today and what he has built. It comes from the Rumuteu. So when we're talking my podcast, I was talking just one property, even if it's a 500,000 rands of one bedroom or bachelor apartment that you buy for your kid next to where they're going to study at university. You can just advise even the estate planners, even God forbid you pass on, to instruct them that your kid or your children must not sell that one property, because that one property over the years, you can even buy it now. Maybe your child is still young, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But you never know, your child, when they're 18 and it's time for them to go to varsity, that property has accumulated in value. Maybe you've paid it off, or maybe whenever you had money, you were paying a little bit more, so you were able to pay it off at a lesser, or maybe at the time, even though you have not paid it off at that time, maybe you paid half of this property, and this property can buy you another property. Then you can get your kid, or you can get your estate planner, even though you're not around, or instruct them to buy a house next to whatever university your kid is going to be going to. And then that house, your kid stays with their classmates, and they rent from them, and they pay the rental amount to the estate planner or the lawyers. And then that money becomes that asset becomes value for your children. Because if your child has got two assets,